Here on Rebel, Religion in the News, we like talking about movies. Like everybody likes talking about movies. We're talking about movies that are Christian themed that may never have a chance again to ever be nominated for an Oscar award. They might get nominated for maybe like best cinematography or best film editing. In our studio here, we have a poster of one of my favorite Christian themed movies called The Mission. It's a fabulous movie. Jeremy Irons and Robert De Niro. Beautiful soundtrack. I talk about it at least once every 4 or 5 months. It's a beautiful film about. I don't want to tell. I can't get into all of it. It's just a great film. Nominated for Best Picture. It lost to Platoon, which is, that's okay. Platoon, I guess, was a pretty good movie. Not my kind of movie.
Yeah.
Oliver Stone.
Never saw it.
Yeah, me neither. But also that year was a great Woody Allen movie. Hannah and Her Sisters was nominated that year as well. And so, I like Woody Allen. It was a good movie. But this was top shelf, The Mission. So we're talking about whether or not it could ever be a case where we're going to see a Christian movie, no matter how good it is, be nominated for Best Picture. And I'm pretty sure your answer is going to be the same as mine. Pastor Alfredo Romero, Rock of Life Fellowship.
Yeah, I don't see it. Only because there's been a handful of movies that kind of made it to the Oscars that were Christian-based or themed. I don't think you could do that nowadays because most of the Christians themed movies are independent. There's not a lot of big mainstream movies. There's been a couple movies we talked about, Hacksaw Ridge. That was about a man that had faith that didn't want to carry a gun and shoot people, and that was a great movie, I think. But of course, there's Ben-Hur. Well, Ben-Hur, you didn't think Ben-Hur was best movie, did you?
In 1959, I don't remember what else was nominated that year, but I think it probably would have been. I don't know what else was nominated that year.
Yeah, I think so too. But there's been a couple that.
But for its day, especially, even not in its day. Some of the chariot scenes are, and there's no AI. When Charlton Heston is doing those, he had to learn how to ride a chariot.
Yeah.
Of course, for some of the more difficult maneuvers, they had a stuntman, but. Those are the days when men were men, and Charlton Heston was a man's man, and he would definitely. And so I liked Ben-Hur, but again, I don't think a movie like that could ever be.
No, I was surprised.
Win an award again.
I was surprised at the Passion of the Christ, 2003, I think it was, that it didn't come up for Best Picture. I thought it should have. It should have.
It was nominated for best cinematography. I think it's musical score, but there was the acting was brilliant. They had to learn a whole different language. They spoke in Aramaic, and these actors were amazing. The directing, I think the set direction was nominated. I think set direction and cinematography were the two that were nominated, and they would have been well deserved. Of course, they didn't win, but it's interesting because now. Maybe there'll be a return to that, where we go back and go. Another movie that wasn't nominated, that was a Christian movie, was some people consider to be Martin Scorsese's greatest film, believe it or not, was a film called Silence. Devout Christian movie. And some people say it's his best film ever.
Yeah.
I've seen clips of it. It's a hard watch. It has to do with being a martyr and sacrificing one's life. And whether a Christian should do that. Is that what God expects? It's a very difficult view to see the movie Silence. But it's so difficult I've only watched clips of it and said I can't watch this.
Just you describing it means I don't want to watch it. But it's just I'm too emotional for it. Not that it's a bad movie. It's a great movie. I'm too. So I never saw Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List, some of these deeply emotional movies. I have a trouble. It's disturbing to me.
Right. I Saving Private Ryan was just on the screen the other day. It was just on AMC, and it had commercials, which is kind of irritating. But it shows all the graphic violence. It has the curse words, etc. And it's incredible filmmaking. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for every good movie that kind of squeaks by, whether it's a Chariots of Fire or a Ben-Hur back in the day, or even Hacksaw Ridge, where it shows people of faith in a positive life, there's got to be, I'm just guessing, 20 movies, 25 movies that throw Christians in a negative light.
Yeah. And by the way, a movie there's a difference between having somebody mentioning in a movie, like you said in Hacksaw Ridge, where somebody mentions their faith. I mean, as that doesn't really count as a Christian-themed movie, in my opinion. I mean, it's sort of a back issue. You know, the war and was the main purpose of Hacksaw Ridge. It wasn't so much his religion, although it played a point on it. Chariots of Fire, for example, which won Best Picture in 1981, which at the time I celebrated. I look back on now, exactly 45 years later, and say it's a really good film, but it probably should not have won, even though I loved its message.
What was it up against?
It was up against well, to begin with, it was up against Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was up against, I think, Reds, which wasn't that great.
That was Warren Beatty.
Yeah, On Golden Pond.
Oh, that was a great movie.
That was a very good movie.
That was Henry Fonda's last movie.
Yeah, and I think it was Kate Hepburn's last film too. I may have been as well. But Chariots of Fire was really a good Christian movie. People remember it because of the music, Vangelis music of the people running on the beach. It's a really.
So you think that the song got them the Oscar?
Maybe the music, the Vangelis music was so original and so unique, and there was a half a story. It was a half a story about Eric Liddell, who ran in the Olympics in 1924. And famously chose not to run on Sunday in his heat, which meant that he couldn't run in his best race, the 100 meters, and was forced to run in the 400 meters instead, but still wound up winning because when I run, I feel his pleasure, and the music builds up. It's a beautiful film. It's a beautiful moment. The only downside is it takes a while to get to that moment. And there was also another of Harold Abrams, another runner who was fighting against anti-Semitism. And that was his motivation to win a gold medal. And he also won a gold medal in the 1924 Paris Games, as did Eric Liddell. And of course, Eric Liddell famously became a martyr in China.
Really?
Because he served as a missionary.
Oh, no.
And that was one of the central focuses, is because his sister out in Ireland he said, you know, what are you doing? You're supposed to be working for God. You're supposed to be out preaching, and which he was doing. But he said, but when I run, when I run, I feel his pleasure. He said that on the mountaintop when he's talking to his sister, who is grieving the fact that, why aren't you working with the mission? You're doing all this running, going to these meets, doing this training, and you want to be in the Olympics for your glory. And he's like, I'm not doing it for my glory. I'm doing it for his glory.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful film in that sense.
Wow.
But it you know, I loved it. But, you know, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Well, I don't know, because I'm looking at the movies that it was up against. There was 5 films. Now it's like 10 nowadays. Ugh. Yeah. Chariots of Fire was the winner. It was up against Atlantic City.
Good film.
Burt Lancaster. That could have won.
Susan Sarandon was a great film.
On Golden Pond, Raiders, Last Ark, and Reds. But Atlantic City, I remember that movie. I was, probably 20. And that was Burt Lancaster. It was like one of his last great movies.
Yeah, and that was one of Susan Sarandon's first really good movies.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful film. That was a year, and the following year, people forget, that was 1981, if memory serves. But 1982 was even a bigger juggernaut. You had E.T., you had Gandhi, you had Tootsie.
Wow.
The Verdict. The Verdict
Paul
with
Newman.
Paul Newman's a great film.
Yeah.
And then another one I can't remember Missing was a very good movie with Jack Lemmon.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Sissy Spacek. That was a big time year. That's when the Oscars were great.
Everybody watched the Oscars. We would gather around and we'd make our predictions and sit down and say who's going to win. It was a really big national event, the Oscars. But the last 20 years or so, it's a farce. It's all political. Politics has just ruined everything. Mm-hmm. But the big thing about what we were talking about is, can you make a very good movie that's Christian themed and even get considered to be part of the Oscars?
Well, to be Best Picture?
Or Best Picture?
No. Not a chance. And the proof of that was in 2003 with The Passion.
Yeah.
That was virtuoso filmmaking.
Yes.
And I've seen critics, and I've said this before on the show. I saw a critic go on and say, well, Mel Gibson's Passion play Boy, I almost cussed when I heard that. I wanted to say, blank you. You know, passion play. You are too stupid to be a film reviewer if you call that a passion play. That was virtuoso filmmaking
Yeah.
in every sense of the word. And so but it was going to get criticized no matter what, because it was talking about Christ and showing the sacrifice he made.
Yeah.
So the answer to your question, an overtly Christian movie,
No.
like even Chariots of Fire, no chance. Ben-Hur, no chance. I mean, these were nominated or won Best Picture. And another one, Tender Mercies, a wonderful film starring very Christian, was nominated for Best Picture. In fact, Robert Duvall won Best Actor. That was 1983. It lost to Terms of Endearment. And but Tender Mercies was a wonderful film. I liked it a lot. And it had real Christian theme about redemption of a musician, a country musician who fell off the wagon and found a woman, and it was just very, very old-fashioned Christian-themed movie, and it was nominated. I don't think that we're ever going to. I don't think it's anything like that has happened since then, where a movie like that has been nominated that is blatantly Christian.
Yeah, there was a movie that I thought, wow, that should have been nominated for something in 2023. I want to get this right. Jim Caviezel made a movie, a true story, called Freedom. Mm-hmm. And it was about how an agent, a U.S. agent, border control, I believe, uncovered a racket where they were sexually transporting children, sex trafficking. And it was just this great movie based on a true, and it was an example. I'm going, this movie should be nominated. It was amazing. It didn't even get consideration for anything.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, it's called Freedom, Jim Caviezel's movie. But now the Resurrection's coming up pretty soon, and we only got a couple seconds left. But I'm curious to see what that's going to be.
It will
Negative and positive comments.
It'll get some of the like set decoration, music, cinematography. It won't be nominated for Best Picture. It has no chance of that happening. There's not a chance. We're going to take a break, and I think maybe we're going to talk more about movies or something else.
I don't know. We might go to see. We'll go. Let's see where we go.
All right. Yeah. Well, stay with us. We don't know where we're going to go, but we'll figure it out. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Rebel Religion News. We just finished our discussion about movies. We like to talk about movies. If you have a comment or anything, maybe you can suggest a Christian-based film for the rest of us. Leave them in comments.
I have something I want to talk. I think I could talk about this a little bit longer, because we've talked about this before. It's Angel Video. Is that what it's called?
Angel.
And they
Angel Network, yeah.
They do Christian movies, and are they the ones that also do The Chosen?
Yeah, they took over The Chosen from another company. Mm-hmm. They put out The Chosen. They also put out some extremely good movies that get bypassed. Mm-hmm. They put out George Washington lately. If you haven't seen it, if it's still in the theaters, go see it. Very inspiring movie. Basically, it's about failure. Mm-hmm. And it's how failure can turn you into a success.
Oh, adversity builds characters. No question about that. It builds you up. When you go through adversity, God uses adversity.
Oh yeah, and they also put out another movie. And the reason why there's another network called PureFlix, mm-hmm. but Angel Network seems to be the one that's putting out, not to diss PureFlix, they put out good movies too, but it's PureFlix is kind of like an area. It's a profile. It's basically they put out movies that were made by other people. Angel Networks is a production company itself and is putting out different new shows and movies. They put out a movie I'd probably say is the best romantic comedy I've seen in maybe 25, 30 years. And it was Solo Mio with Kevin James. Mm-hmm. What a sweet movie. Great. A lot of stars in this movie, too. Andrea Bocelli was in this movie, Kevin James, and a woman from The Office, I forget her name, but just a great, I would highly recommend it, Solo Mio. But there are movies out there. If Christians and even non-Christians are looking for a movie that doesn't have the political views and the extreme violence and the gratuitous sex, you just want to see a good storyline, I would go to Angel Network.
Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe for kids. I disagree with you a little bit for adults. Yeah. Because I think there was a movie, and I think it was by Angel, where they had an inmate who was possessed by Satan.
Nefarious.
And he's talking to the prison guard or the psychiatrist. And there was not one F-bomb in the movie. There was not one bad word.
He was possessed.
Nothing.
He was possessed.
But he's possessed. And that's why I thought was a great idea for a movie. And as much as I don't like gratuitous swearing or gratuitous sex or gratuitous violence, the reality is that that's part of our world. And so I disagree with Angel Network, by not having some of that. They should have that because that's the real world in which we live. And to pretend that it's not, as long as you're not glorifying it, as long as you're not saying it's something wonderful. It's like, did you watch I watched bits and pieces of The Exorcist, but I've never watched it in its entirety because it's just too horrifying.
I've seen it. It's horrifying.
But do you know the reason that you believe that Linda Blair is possessed by the devil? Do you know why you believe that?
Because it was unfiltered.
It was unfiltered. There was cussing. There was violence. It was awful. It was what Satan would probably be like, and that made it more effective.
Yeah.
And so when we try to clean things up from a Christian perspective, it seems to me we do our messaging a disservice. We should want to show the evil that is Satan. We should want to show the evil, the bad things that can happen when somebody gets involved with sex outside the marriage, when things that can happen when you start doing things that displease God.
Yeah.
And I mean, a great example, we use this one a lot, The Godfather. Listen, nobody wants to end up like Michael Corleone. Okay, nobody's like, I know people who say they'll never see an R-rated movie because, I just won't do it. Because it goes against what God wants. I'm not so sure that isn't what God wants. I mean, the Bible is R-rated. I say this a lot. If you don't want to see an R-rated movie, if you want to avoid R-rated content, don't read the Bible. And if you really think that R-rated content is something that you don't want to be around and you don't want your kids to know about, don't have them read the Bible. It is all R-rated, all throughout. But the difference is the evil ultimately gets beaten.
Well, I mean,
maybe that's too strong of a take,
maybe,
but that's my take.
Yeah, a little bit maybe because, yes, there is the violence really. It's not the sex in there really anything. I mean, except for it depends on how you view it or how you portray it. Mm-hmm. Like, Potiphar's wife and trying to seduce, Joseph and the Song of Solomon's a very lovely story, but all the violence.
David and Bathsheba.
David and Bathsheba. I mean, it depends how you portray it. If I was I could make a movie about David and Bathsheba, and not show the gratuitous sex stuff. I mean, and there's movies about David that don't have to go that far. I don't believe you have to do that to tell the stories. You don't have to show a sex scene.
Yeah, but do you feel that same way? I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, but there's a middle ground somewhere. And because what was it that attracted David to Bathsheba?
Yeah, he saw her naked swimming.
Saw a beautiful woman and was swimming, and I mean, and so that's the reality.
That's true.
And to kind of say, well, because you know what, I remember hearing that story when I was a young lad. It didn't really affect me, by Bathsheba. But as an older adult, I could see, well, he had a temptation. He had a great temptation, and he couldn't prevent it. And then look what happened to him.
Yeah, I'm not somebody that would say I won't watch an R movie because I have, and it depends on the content. I will not see demonic movies. I won't see killer slasher movies. I won't see gratuitous sex movies. But I've seen things like The Passion. That was rated R, and then there was. I do like. I remember Bishop was saying he really loved Bruce Willis movies.
Yeah.
I would see what was his most famous movie? I'm drawing a blank now.
Die Hard.
Die Hard. I'll watch Die Hard. I mean, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of violence, a lot of blood.
But it's basically good over evil. I like the good over evil movies.
Well, yeah.
The common man over the evil.
Well, people. There are people who look at The Passion, Mel Gibson's movie of 2003. By the way, they're making a remake, and by the way, they're going to be showing The Passion on the big screens coming up in September. September 10th to the 17th. They're going to show the original Passion 2003 on special showing on big screen before they release in 2027, the sequel. But and I forgot where I was going with this.
Well, you said I was talking about the
The violence.
violence, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I've never seen a more violent movie in my life than The Passion. I mean, it's so horrifying. I can't watch it. I mean, there are times where I literally have to leave the room, turn my head. But do we say, well, there's too much violence, or is showing that violence somehow a good thing?
Well, here's two perspectives of it. The people that have a relation with Christ, the people that have faith and belief in Christ as our Savior, it was very hard to watch. There was two perspectives of it. And because we understood what Jesus did for me, for you, what he went through for us. The people that were not in relation with Christ, they're either what would be called atheist or agnostic or didn't care, whatever. It didn't affect them the way it affected the believers. Mm-hmm. That was like watching, Reservoir Dogs or something, or Fargo or something. It was just okay. It's just a violent movie, but our hope and prayer is that people would watch that and somehow realize what Christ actually did for them.
And you mentioned Fargo, a very gritty film, a lot of terrible violence. Yeah. I mean, really, a lot of blood, a lot
people
of
in
gruesome,
drugs,
gruesome stuff. But there's a lesson taken from that. And old Jerry Lundegaard, the car salesman, don't be greedy. One, don't be greedy. Don't lie. Don't be deceitful. Just work hard and do your job, and take care of your family. And so even though the Coen brothers, people might look upon that film and say, well, that Fargo is just a lot of violence. It was just brutal and wood chipper and stuff. Well, there's a lesson there. Don't be Jerry Lundegaard, okay? Take care of your family and don't get yourself into that kind of predicament to begin with.
Well, they made a TV show out of it. They got a series out of that movie.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it's the extra violence, the extra sex and all that. And I'm not one for, I really don't like sex scenes at all, and we shouldn't. I'll stay away from movies that have anything like that. I can't even handle certain movies. Real quick, we got a couple minutes left. You mentioned something about you saw a movie and it had commercials in it. What movie was that?
Saving Private Ryan.
And you said it had the cuss words in it and things
like that.
It still
did, but they had commercial breaks.
But it's on TV. And for all of you that are old enough to remember, so much for George Carlin's 7 words you can't say on TV.
Yeah. Well, I'm mixed on that. Because at some point you need to have parents saying, son, daughter, you're not watching this movie. This is not appropriate for you. And it was during the middle of the day, and there were commercials, and they would always put up a warning. There's violence, there's graphic talk. It might not be suitable for some ages. I'm afraid that horse is out of the barn.
Yeah, it's too
We're
late.
never getting it back.
And then that's why you got to keep kids away from YouTube. But I'll tell you one quick thing. There are videos. Actually, it's a video service that you can download to your computer, your TV, and it filters out any sexual content, any gratuitous violence, and foul language. I will tell you, our men at the Bible study, we have a movie night on occasion, and we'll pick a movie, and it's appropriate movies, but they wanted to watch Tombstone.
Yeah.
And we ran Tombstone. We saw it through this filter. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It would skip entire scenes.
Yeah.
You couldn't follow the movie because, like, one of the movies when the brother got shot in the pool table and it skipped that whole scene.
Yeah, if you're going to see The Godfather, you want to see the horse's head in the bed, okay, with the movie Big Shot, okay? Don't filter them. Don't filter the movie. Just leave it as is. Gosh, we got to go. Alfredo, thank you so much. Pastor Alfredo Romero, Rock of Life Fellowship. They're over at Dominic Drive. Sunday service times. Look them up online. Rock of Life Fellowship. I think I stuttered through that. Rock of Life Fellowship. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So long.